How my 5-star prediction's been going so far this year? Stay tuned and find out. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you a reevaluation of my 5-star predictions from earlier in the year. We are coming up on August, and I think it's about time maybe I go over my 5-star predictions for 2021. If you have not seen that video, it's up here. And kind of evaluate how it's been going so far. Kind of go over the books and kind of say, you know, I've read this one, this is my thought on it, this is what I rated it, or this is a book I have not gotten to yet, or do I still think it's going to be a 5-star? Obviously, it's still going to be in my predictions because earlier in the year, all these books I had one point thought would be a 5-star. So I want to keep it that way. Obviously, as I go through them, I will let you know more about whether or not I think they still will be if I have not gotten to them yet. So, but yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into some 5-star predictions. Alright, so these are in no particular order. I actually had intended to do it in an order, and Danielle's like, let's just do a random. So next to me are the 11 books that I had predicted to be 5 stars, and the first one we're starting out with was a DNF. So Ghost Story by Peter Straub. There's high expectations with this. This is one of his top rated books, and I got about this far and stopped. So at the time, the plan was to do this in a reading vlog with a Dean Koontz book and kind of do like other like well-known horror authors that are like still alive that aren't Stephen King. I mean, that wouldn't have been the title. That would have been super long if that was the title, but that was the idea of the video, was to do like modern horror authors that are like older, that are still kicking and writing. And Peter Straub and Dean Koontz were like the perfect two. I had the books picked out and everything, and I'd started getting into this. I'm on page 84, and I gotta tell you, I really don't know a lot about what's going on. All I really know is the same thing I knew when I started it. It was a group of older people who experience this traumatic experience, and they come back every couple of years to retell the story of it, and that's it. By what I understand is one of the guys actually did something with a little kid. But it's been so long since I picked this up, I don't remember what it even was. Is this a book that I intend to finish? Probably, but I don't think this is the year for it. However, we do have plans for October. Big plans in October. So maybe I can swing that for October. But as of right now, this is not on the plans. It is not a 5-star book for me so far. So I know there's still 500 pages in this book. So, but as of right now, Peter Straub's Ghost Story, a DNF, not a 5-star. Next one up is a book that I finished and was a 5-star. Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So this has been in a couple videos lately. The Grady Hendrix ranking video, we'll have that up here. And then we also did this in its own kind of like reading vlog thing. We'll have that up there as well. This book was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It took me forever to finally read the darn thing. It was on numerous TBRs. It had been in TBRs since like 2020. And finally I'm just like, let's just do it. You know, let's read it, be done with it, and it doesn't have to be on a TBR video anymore. So I finished it. I really did enjoy it. I gave it 5 stars. So just to kind of keep it vague, this book is pretty much about a book club that meets. This weird, sketchy neighbor kind of moves in. It's this weird guy, and one of the ladies, Patricia, is very suspicious of him and is accusing him of a lot of things. Nobody believes her. A lot of bad things happen to her, her family, and a lot of people in the neighborhood. But nobody really starts caring until the end of the book. So, but I did really enjoy this. This was my second all-time favorite Grady Hendrix book. Of course, behind My Best Friend's Exorcism. But yes, very good book. Ended up being a 5-star, so 1 for 2. Alright, the next book is a Joe Hill book that I have not gotten to yet. And that is The Fireman. So this is a relatively thicker book. by Joe Hill, which is, if you don't know, that's Stephen King's son. And do I still think it's going to be a 5-star? It's hard to say because I've read, I think, 2 Joe Hill books now, and one of them was practically a DNF, Strange Weather. Wasn't the best, but whatever. And then Nosferatu, which was a 5-star book that I read last year, and I really, really enjoyed that book. That is why I had such high hopes for the Fireman. If you're to ask me what I know about this book, it is purely nothing. I actually really don't know anything about this. I wanted to go into this completely blank, not know anything about it. And I still intend to keep it that way. So I do still intend to read this book this year. Do I think it's going to be a 5-star? I'm going to go on a limb and say yes. I feel like it will be. Just because the short stories didn't work well for Joe Hill, by what I've read so far. And the one novel I've read by him worked perfect. So, based off the numbers, what I'm going off of, I think this can be a 5-star book. So, Joe Hill, the Fireman, will it be a 5-star? I am still predicting it will be. Alright, next book I'm going to talk about is a Stephen King book that I have not gotten to yet this year. I have started it though, but I'm going to need to restart it because it's been a while since I've touched it. And that is The Chunking Under the Dome. So, I put this in a 5-star prediction, said it was going to be 5 stars. By what I understand with this book is it's about, well, this town that gets put under a dome. And basically it's how they survive under this dome. Everything is kind of not going right for them. Like I said, I read a little bit of it, but I don't remember much. I know a lot of things bad happened as soon as the dome dropped, and it starts out right away with the dome dropping. There's no, like, buildup of characters. It's just like, yep, here it comes, just, and the dome has fallen. Do I still think it'll be a 5-star? See, since I made the video where I predicted it as a 5-star, I've heard a lot of people say the ending is very, how do I want to phrase it? It's a very Stephen King ending. That's what some people have said. So it's either going to take a really, really weird turn, and because I've watched like 2 people give like a spoiler-free review on this, and they say that it is a very solid book. It's a chunker, but it's very good, and then the ending happens, and it's just, they didn't really enjoy the ending. Do I always tend to agree with what other people think? No, but I don't know. I don't think. So, to answer the question, do I think it's going to be a 5-star? I don't think so. I think it'll end up being a 4-star. So, I don't think this will end up being a 5-star when all is said and done. I think it's going to crank to a 4. So, Under the Dome, will it be a 5-star? No, I'm thinking probably a 4. Now let's get to a book that I did finish, and that is The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. This got 5 stars and is probably one of my favorite books of 2021 that I've read so far. It's in the top 5. It's such a good book. It's phenomenal. I was very happy that I was able to predict this correctly, and it did not let me down whatsoever. We did this in a classic horror reading vlog, I think it was. This, I don't remember the other one. I think Rosemary's Baby was part of it. But we have that linked up here if you want to take a look at that video where I talk more about this book. But, I mean, this is Silence of the Lambs. If you've seen the movie, you know how it goes. It's pretty darn close to how the book goes. Hannibal Lecter is trying to help this new FBI trainee and trying to catch this killer named Buffalo Bill. And it's phenomenal. It's such a great book. Like, as soon as I finished it, I wanted to read it again. And a lot of books don't tend to do that to me, where I'm like, holy crap, I just finished this, and take me back to page 1, what happens? And I want to read it again. So, Silence of the Lambs, 5-star prediction came true. It is a 5-star book. So there is the second 5-star for the list. Alright, the next one is another one that I did finish. but was not a 5-star. And that is I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. So this ended up being a 3-star book. It wasn't as good as I had hoped. I don't know, maybe it's one of those books. I feel like a lot of the like older classic books are books that I like sometimes might have to read a second time to like really get it pushed over to be a better book than what I initially had thought. I know The Haunting of Hill House, a lot of people really enjoyed that book. I think that got another 3 stars from me, maybe even 2.5. You know, maybe I'll do a vlog in the future where I reread poorly reviewed, you know, older books by me, and maybe that changes my opinion of them. But I Am Legend, it's about one survivor in a post-apocalyptic world where there's these weird like vampire-like creatures that are out to kill everybody. And the only thing that was really the highlight for me with this book is him and one of the vampire creatures like banter against each other. Robert Neville, the doctor who survives. The banter he has with one of the vampire creatures I think is kind of funny, where they keep kind of toying with each other, and the one will kind of just keep yelling at Neville like, "Come out! Fight me!" And that was probably the highlight, in my opinion, for the whole book. But again, another thing where I think I might need to read it again in the future. Not near future, but in the future. And this was an old edition we found at a half-price books. So there you have I Am Legend. Was it a 5-star? Unfortunately, it was not. Alright, the next book is one that I have not read yet, and I was very intrigued when we picked this out at a Barnes & Noble. That is The Graveyard Apartment by Mariko Koike. I still don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that's... The thing that sold me on this book was the last line in the blurb. I mean, the cover looks really sick, and that's one thing. But the last line in the blurb that it talks about the book is, "You will never feel comfortable in an elevator or a basement again." And I mean, if a book is going to do that to me, then I would like to know what it's about. And at the end of the day, I still think this will be a 5-star book. I just got to read it. Alright, the next book is a book that I have read, and it got 5 stars. And that is The Institute by Stephen King. So this book was said to have some Stranger Things vibes with it, with a group of kids. And, well, the first part of the book, you're kind of getting the perspective of like a police officer, security guard guy, and he's supposed to be like the hopper of everything. And then the next like chunk of the book is all the kids in the Institute. They all have gifted abilities, and they kind of overthrow this place, and it's a really fun ride. I really enjoyed it. I just wish there was more of like the Hopper character throughout like the book entirely. That was the only thing I really had a problem with. Otherwise, it was a really solid book, a great story, and I gave it 5 stars. So there's another 5-star for the checkmark column. That puts us at 3 5-stars from this prediction list so far. All right, the next book is... I feel like I don't even need to talk about it. I just need to show it. Like, holy crap! I have not read this book yet, but I've only heard good things about this. And based off of the movie that I watched, that Danielle had showed me, if this isn't a 5-star, then I give up on life. Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl. The movie was one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's up there with The Shining and other great films that I've watched. But Gone Girl, the movie, was one of the best movies I've ever seen, and I know it stays relatively true to how the book goes, and if that is the case, then this book should be a guaranteed 5-star. Like, guaranteed. So, do I still think this is going to be a 5-star book? Hell yes. I think this will still be a 5-star book. Alright, this next one is a book that, again, I started and did not finish, but it's not a DNF. I just needed to take a little more time from reading such a chunky book and just put it off to the side. And that is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. So as you can see, it's a chunky book. This is this is one of the highest rated Stephen King books that there really is, and it's not a horror related book that I'm aware of. It's more of like a historical fiction. This guy goes back in time to stop the JFK assassination, and he ends up, like, by what I've heard from spoiler-free videos, he ends up falling in love with somebody from the past, and it really messes up a lot of things for him. And I'm very intrigued to get to this book. Do I still think it's going to be a 5-star? Yes, I do. Just because I know that a lot of people really enjoy this book. It's in a lot of people's Stephen King's like top 5, top 10s, and I haven't read it yet, so it's not on my list because I haven't read it. So do I still think it'll be a 5-star? Yes, I do. When will I read it? No clue. Alright, we've gotten to the notorious number 11, and I gotta say, this was one of the hardest books to really rate, in my opinion, between the ones that I did read, and that is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. It was a hard book for me to rate. Do I think Home Before Dark is better? That's where it kind of got into question, because I thought this was a better book than Home Before Dark, but I gave this book only like 4.5 stars at the time. But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, Home Before Dark is a 5-star book, so why the heck would I give this 4.5? That doesn't make any sense. So I kind of sat on it, thought about it a little bit longer, and at the end of the day, this is a 5-star book. And my reason behind it is a reason I can't say because it would spoil the book. So unfortunately, you can't hear my reason really fully behind it. But there was a video I did with this. Again, I couldn't really spoil anything. That's the problem, is it's really hard to like not spoil a book, and the thing that like really turned me to make this a 5-star book is something that is very spoilerish, and I can't share it with you guys, so it really is frustrating. Danielle, I think, gave this 4 stars. That was because of, I think, mainly due to the ending, I think is what she told me. And honestly, that's what made it a 5-star for me, was the ending. So, but yeah, no, this is about a girl who gets this drive home. She's leaving college because she doesn't want to be there anymore, and ends up being driven home by a murderer. And pretty much the story from there is her survival of, well, the night, and hence the title. So I ended up giving this 5 stars. I really enjoyed the characters. They're really cool. They're really fun. I mean, there's a couple of plot twists, and I think the big one that irritated Danielle was, like I said, that was the one that I actually enjoyed the most. So yeah, 5-star book. That's number 4 on this list. So alright, so 11 5-star predictions were made at the start of the year. So far, 4 of them have been 5 stars. 2 of them have been, one was a DNF, and one of them was a 3-star. So I've got 5 more to go, and so far, between what I've told you guys and what I think personally, I think 4 of them could be a solid 5 stars. So, although I did say the same thing about the other 2. So that's the thing with books, though. You never really know if you're actually going to get a 5-star that you predict, you know. Also, let me know in the comments if you're intrigued with a video like this for like my most anticipated reads for 2021. Because, you know, I had a couple of these that were on there. I had a couple of other ones that were on there that I did not have as predicted 5 stars, but were books that I really wanted to read. Some of these might pop up in that again, but, you know. Just let me know in the comments what you think, because I remember making that video, and a lot of those books I really wanted to put on this 5-star prediction, but I just didn't. So.
But you've also read a lot of them too.
Well, yeah, I know. I've read a good chunk of them. So let me know in the comments if you want to see that video. Kind of like a reevaluation of my most anticipated reads for 2021. Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, what are some 5-star books you predicted that have come true this year so far? Make sure you let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.